Mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch as she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch as she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. Girl, you gotta hear this one. Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess what's with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch as she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch as she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. Girl, you gotta hear this one.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. We are going to dive right into Sarah Grace Patrick, also known as the TikTok teen. Oh, this case is back in the news with a hearing that occurred yesterday. We really haven't heard much about it in the last 6 months or so because there really hasn't been anything. There's no really new documents except for orders from the court about press coverage. Changes of lawyers on both the state and the public defender side, and that's about it. So before we get into it, I'm going to say hi to the chat. We're going to do a quick TLDR, although I do have an entire playlist on this case, even though there's not many videos. This is a Georgia case. This is about 4.5 hours from my house, so it's not close to me by any means. It's a few hundred miles away. However, because it is a Georgia case, the documents are online, but I'm not able to download them without paying a hefty price. So we don't download them and read them. We just read them straight off of Carroll County's website. With that being said, how is everybody doing today? Snipe Hunter, Dragon's Gravy, good to see you. And I still have to email you back, Dragon's Gravy. I've been so I emailed you about something or wanted to get in contact with you about something, and then totally rebranded both of my channels, dropped off the radar for a little bit. And it's like I got my second logo back from the designer yesterday, so I'm happy with it. Need to update all my thumbnails, but I need to redo my intro video because it still has my old thumbnail, which is fine, like my old logo, which was fine. It was great. The person who did it for me was super sweet. They did it for me without not asking me, that's not the right word, but they did it. It was great. I didn't know at the time, because my channel was new, what to ask for, what not to. When they asked me if I wanted them to change anything, I didn't know what to do. I was so overwhelmed with the fact that they did it for me anyway. And now that my channel is a couple years old and I feel like I've grown a little in the YouTube space, I have a lot to learn. But I feel like I've evolved. More of my personality is coming out. I just think things needed a change and an upgrade, and both of my channels needed to vibe together instead of being two separate entities. Because I also have a third logo for Built for Life, And I also have an umbrella, which is probably going to be my LLC, which is Compass Collective. So I have all of that shit going on while I am trying to make new intro videos and keep up with content on both channels. So we're just having a little bit of a crisis of overwhelmedness. And my 3-year-old is trying to flood my bathroom right now. So if you see me freak out and run that way, mama duties will ensue very quickly. Not enough caffeine in the world to get me through today. Heidel, thanks for being you and always be here. Gail, my phone is dead. Oh no, my phone's at like 40%, so we're running low. Snipe, good to see you. Stacy, good to see you. Just popping in before I head out. We'll listen. Well, I hope you're safe when you're running errands or going wherever you need to go today. Stay cool. It is a lot cooler outside. It's only like 84 degrees outside. It feels great. Feels great. Hey, Harry, how are you? Flash fan, good to see you. Oh, Mo and the Deep End Raiders, how are you over on Rumble? Good to know the Rumble raid is working. I have no idea how to redirect over there yet or do anything with it. I'm still learning. I am a Rumble virgin, newbie. It is what it is. I am learning slowly. Thank you for your patience with me. Tammy, Ricky Bobby, JKD Buck, how to see you. Oh, yeah, and those are very expensive documents. It's like $56 for like 12 pages. Absolutely ridiculous. But there's not anything that's not procedural. There's no motions from anybody on one side, which is going to make this hearing extra interesting. All right. Y'all good? It's been a busy few weeks, and I'm building new tools that have been fighting you. New tools? Ooh. You're a professional now? I would not go that far. The only place that I would like to be considered a professional is when I'm working with clients. Other than that, it's anybody's guess, you know. All right. So we are going to get into the 5-minute recap. I in all my defense, in order to organize my thoughts on this, I put all my notes that I had been taking on this case into Chat GPT and said, please make this shit organized by timeline and make sense based on my notes. Here's my playlist. Any news sources, please just help me make sense of this and make it about 5 minutes or less. So if I miss anything, there's not much and then there's a lot at the same time. So I'm still learning on how to balance because y'all know I can talk for days about nothing. I can talk and talk and talk and not get anything accomplished. So with that, so if you are new to this case, here is everything you need to know in less than 5 minutes. February 2025, February 20th, 2025 to be exact. The Carroll County, Georgia, which is west of Atlanta, towards the Alabama line. Kristen Brock and James Brock were found unalived by Pew Pew Freedom Seed Thrower. According to investigators, they were discovered after a 911 call by their oldest daughter, Kristen Brock's biological 16-year-old daughter, and their Jamie's stepdaughter. And also inside the home was a 6-year-old biological child of both and the defendant's half-sister. So from the beginning, it was ruled a double unaliving. Investigators processed the crime scene like they always do, talking to witnesses, talking to the family. Carroll County Sheriff's Office was leading this investigation. They believed the evidence and has always stated the evidence pointed to one person and one person only. And that would be the defendant, Sarah Grace Patrick, the 16-year-old at the time, daughter of Kristen and stepdaughter of James. The bodies were found by the 6-year-old. So months go by. She is not arrested until July of 2025. Despite speculation, they have never given a motive. What was interesting about this is he had a oh crap. Sorry, I'm going back to my medical days. He oh crap, and I was certified in this too. A heart, basically the thing that made the right side of his heart work. My brain is short circuiting on the name of the device. I have used it. I've done showers with people who have had this device. It's what they use before they get a transplant. However, however, that device has a very loud alarm. And if it goes off, say when the heart stops pumping, that device will go off and go off and go off. And the fact that nobody heard it, or Sarah Grace allegedly did not hear it, or the pew pew bangs, is very odd. So she wasn't arrested until July of 2025. She was charged with, and I have to look at my notes, because you want to be specific. 2 counts of malice murder and related felony unaliving charges. In the docket, which I am looking at right now, she is being charged with 2 counts of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and 2 counts of possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. That's what she is being charged with. All 8 counts. Obviously, 4 counts per person kind of makes sense. Here is why this case is going viral, and why this case went viral, and why it's getting national attention from networks like Law and Crime, who have interviewed her grandfather, her biological father, who all think she's innocent. So this is known as the TikTok teen case, because not only was she a influencer, I use that term loosely, don't know how many followers she had. She had an active TikTok presence where she openly discussed the deaths of her mother and stepfather. And these videos, we showed a couple of them in a prior video of mine. They just seemed off. Her behavior in these videos, her tears, where it literally looks like she put on mascara and sprayed herself in the face with water to get those really dramatic, ugly cry mascara marks. So she even reached out to a true crime TikToker to help solve this case. And this quickly turned into did she do it? Because this is just some odd behavior. I have questions. I have so many questions, because maybe it's just that I'm an old millennial, like borderline Gen X. I can't see this behavior being normal, but having worked with a Gen Z person one day a week and seeing some of the decisions that are made there, is this normal for them? So maybe what's normal and odd behavior for me is just everyday behavior for Gen Z. I don't know. So this has gotten lots of clicks. It was supposed to go to trial in January. It was moved. She had a change of counsel in February due to her current lawyer leaving the public defender's office. So that is where we are going to get into. She had a hearing yesterday, and that is what we are going to watch today. So we are going to watch her new lawyer for the first time that I have seen him ask the judge for a whole bunch of stuff. And apparently there's been some new developments, but are not in any documents. This is what's weird to me about this county in Georgia, or this specific case, is even in other cases I've covered in Georgia, the documents have been normal. The defense wants something, the prosecution wants something, They put in a motion, the other side responds, the judge makes a decision. Kind of typical. However, here, that has not happened, despite the state supposedly having mountains of evidence. And oh, so with that background out of the way, we're going to dive into yesterday's hearing. So grab your coffee or your caffeine, buckle up, buttercups, because I really don't know what we're in for on this ride, because I don't know. And this is Judge Justin Hightower. Has his hair that's rivaling Elvis for thickness and style and the amount of hair gel used. So let me say hi to who else has shown up. I did use ChatGPT, and I used ChatGPT to input my own notes and be like, here's all my notes, here's my playlist. I cannot organize my thoughts into a quick synopsis. Help me. There is a difference in using AI appropriately, in what I feel is using AI appropriately anyway. Everybody's different. In helping me organize my thoughts into shit that makes sense versus me just rambling and going back and forth while I remember stuff. And here's all my notes that I've taken. I screenshotted my notebook when I take all my notes. I screenshotted it into a picture, imported it into ChatGPT, and said, here's my notes. Here's an article on the case. Here is my playlist of my videos that I've made on YouTube. Please give me a synopsis based on the information that I've provided you. So everything that, instead of me going back and forth on, this and that and this and that, yes, AI is appropriate for some things. Some things. So, all right. And hey, everybody that just showed up. Stacy, Tiny Paget. And I don't know. There we go. Watching on YouTube TV and running Rumble on my phone while doing housework. It is so good to see you. And thanks for all the people over there on Rumble. I am still getting used to how that works. So I promise I am not ignoring y'all. It is a little bit of a learning curve for me. So please forgive me if y'all feel like I'm yeah, she's like 29 now. No, she's like 17. So yeah, it's a heart monitor, but I can't remember what the heart monitor is. No, it's not a pacemaker. It's it's an LVAD. Thank you. I was like VAD, ventricular assisted device, but left, yeah, an LVAD. And the thing about it is 2020, and from 2017 to 2020, I was LVAD certified because I worked on a cardiac unit, and the unit below me was cardiac surge. So it was like LVADs here, LVADs there, LVADs everywhere. You get an LVAD, you get an LVAD. It was like Oprah for LVADs. However, so I got LVAD certified. However, it's been 6 years, and my brain and working on LVADs is an interesting thing that, skill fade. And with that being said, LVAD is the first thing to go. However, LVAD has a very loud alarm. Even when you are going from wall power to battery power, LVAD has a very loud and annoying alarm. And I can remember what it sounds like vividly, almost like a PTSD kind of reaction. I do not have it. I'm just saying it kind of gives you that adrenaline rush and that like freak out moment, even when you're going from wall power to battery and the alarm is going to go off. So when someone is unalived, has an LVAD, their heart stops, that LVAD will alarm. And hi, Malin, how are you? Thank you for the 20 Swedish krona. Okie dokie, this is for your memory. Thank you. Oh my goodness. My memory is a little, I prefer Rumble as it has better audio and video quality. And it's awkward. So it's just an awkward interface, but we're working on it. And hey, Philip, lots of love to you and the family. How are you? And Coop, how are you? Alrighty. We are going to get into this. I know that was a little longer than 5 minutes, but as far as the actual TLDR, I think I did pretty damn good, all things considering. All right. So here is this obviously it's going to be a short hearing, but once again, this is the have it open on your laptop, but forget to open it up on your computer. So that is Sarah Grace Patrick. She is far from the TikTok teen filters. And that right there in front of us is her new attorney, and his name is this is the that is what you see. So, and hold on, let me pause this for a second. I accidentally share. Chrome tab. There we go. There we go. That's better. I shared the wrong thing. Oh, and she was denied bond, not once but twice.
If we could, we make an announcement outside. I did tell people that they can come back in. If they're here in support of this case or interested in this case, tell them they can come back in the courtroom before we get started. I just asked everyone at the time to step out so we can get through some announcements, but I did really want to know that would be allowed to come back.
Sean Hoover, our Sean Hoover.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the state of Georgia versus Sarah Grace Patrick. This is our calendar call for the trial week of 8/3. It's my understanding that defense has a short motion that they'd like to be heard. And then the state, I believe, is also...
Mama duties in
So defense, whenever you're ready. Thank you, Your Honor.
And as the court said, we filed a motion, so I will be brief on that. I will go into the case law as much. So, and for the record, I am. And for the record, my name is Sean Hoover. I have recently joined, or I am the attorney for Ms. Patrick moving forward. Latoya Williams was the attorney. She no longer works with the Public Defender's Office, so I will be moving forward here on.
Now, I know that you paused, you said recently. To this case in February.
February, that's correct. For me, it's recent. I apologize. There's been a number of trials since. So I've been in the case since February, Your Honor. We're asking for a continuance today regarding Ms. Patrick's case. I know the court has already read the case law involved. Just to put a couple of highlights on the record. For starters, Your Honor, once I took over the case, I put an entirely new team on Ms. Patrick's case. With that said, I got the case, there was a lot of discovery involved, started to go through the discovery while I was trying other cases. Once I realized there were certain issues that hadn't been addressed when Ms. Williams took represented Ms. Patrick, I started to create a team or bring a team in that could address those particular issues. At the beginning, I thought it was just a chain of custody issue, and it turned into a lot more than that. To give you an idea or a little more of an understanding, I brought in Mary Dayton, who is an attorney with the Public Defender Office. I worked with her when I was with the Capitol Office.
People talk a lot faster than you
has
talk.
done a lot with juvenile clients, especially juvenile clients dealing with capital cases and dealing with forensics. What I thought was just a chain of custody issue turned out to be a much larger issue dealing with GBI, the Sheriff's Office, Police Department, and just evidence in general. With that said, we brought in also a mitigation investigator, Olivia, who's at the table with us as well, who also deals with capital cases, also deals with juvenile cases, but also deals with the mitigation aspect of it. Once Ms. Dayton and Olivia came in, we found out that based off of current case law, not only with the United States, but also in Georgia, certain issues weren't addressed when Ms. Williams had the case, and Ms. Williams announced correctly. mainly because of the age of Miss Patrick when the shootings actually occurred. Because Miss Patrick was a juvenile at the time, case law is a little different when it comes to, for one example, sentencing in regards to how and when a juvenile can be sentenced to life without possibility of parole, death penalty, or life with possibility of parole. Because of those issues, I believe it was about 2 weeks ago, I believe Olivia just said that we got the defects information around June 30th, which literally wasn't that long ago. Yes, Ms. Williams had an expert that.
And when he refers to Miss Williams, that was her former attorney, also in the public defender's office. So she was and still is a juvenile. I believe she was 16 at the time, maybe 17, so she might be an adult now. However, you know, hey Alec, how are you? I did have it on 1.25 speed. I slowed it down because I forgot Georgia talks much faster than Utah, apparently. But this will be. There was also rumors. This is not in the TLDR, and see, this is why I knew I was going to miss some stuff. There was possible history of street pharmaceutical use by the parents. It's just a possible defects. The Department of Children and Family Services in Georgia. It's just nothing adds up and things are weird. And I can't put my finger on exactly what's weird between possible rugs in the household, her weird behavior on social media, everybody coming to her aid from church, her being denied bond twice. This is just a weird situation. And my leg is going to sleep with the little sitting on my lap. But yes, and Roy, give your wife a hug from all of us. We love you and her. So, yep, we put her first. We are always here for you, and we will always be here for you. So, you do what you need to do. So, yeah, and I forgot about a lot about this case. Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked about this. In the year since I first did my first video, I think my first video was July 20th or July 21st or something weird like that. I've only done 5 videos on this. And even when her trial was pushed back from January 6th to August, we still didn't know until the day of. And there was no orders in. There was nothing. It was just bizarre. Hey, Boosh, how are you? Boosh comes in burping all over the place. Where's your manners, Boosh?
To be nice, did some work on the case, but the expert didn't have Ms. Patrick's, and the expert I'm talking about, Dr. Schaefer, didn't have Ms. Patrick's defects records when he did his evaluation, when he spoke to Ms. Patrick and family members, when he came to his ultimate conclusion. Now that we have the defects records, that has opened up, lack of a better term, a whole other can of worms in regards to not only sentencing because of Ms. Patrick's age, but also our theory moving forward.
And Flash fan, I don't think anything is sealed. There is just nothing there. Like, here is usually when things are sealed, they say sealed or sealed motion for this. There is nothing. And I have to move. There we go. So this is everything from the very beginning, unless there's more on Peach Court, and I'll have to look up on Peach Court because Peach Court, I think I have to have a paid. I think I have to have a paid subscription to Peach Court. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to look at that. But this is from the very beginning when the warrant was issued July 8th of 2025 to now. There's only been 140 entries, and most of them are the judge and these requests to use recording devices during hearings. And certificate of service for everybody. There has been not a whole lot of leave of absence. Like there's been not a lot of anything. There was 2 motions back on which we covered back in November of 2019 or 2025. But then there was an order denying the request for continuance on November 21st, and then it was continued in January. It's just been weird. There was the expert testimony notice that we looked at, and that was the contention on why it was ultimately delayed. It was the expert testimony. However, since then, since January, when it was denied, or when the trial was delayed, there has been nothing. There was another motion for bond reconsideration that was denied. That was it. It's like, order denying bond again, 129. 7th order on request to record proceedings. There has been nothing. And now here we are. So that's the gist of this case. There has been, for them having mountains of evidence and a shit ton of discoveries, supposedly, there has been nothing in the docket. Yeah, so not 600 plus entries like Utah. Yeah, not even close. Most of those have been the judges. And orders for this judge put orders for each individual entity that wanted to be in the courtroom on a separate order instead of putting it all on one. So that could have cut down the docket by another maybe 30 entries. So we're talking like maybe 100 entries that actually matter, and most of them are just procedural. This has been weird. Yep. No jingerous motion after motion after motion. None. To the point where it seems like something's weird.
Forward, especially crossing certain officers and certain witnesses based off of the evidence that we did receive from the state. So with that said, we're asking for a continuance for multiple reasons. The first one will be because now that we actually have a team in place that can actually address the issues facing Ms. Patrick because of her age at the time of the shooting and because of all of the background history that Ms. Williams, she just didn't know about because she didn't have it. Literally, we sent you the order and you got the information as quickly as possible. But we're talking about over 10 years worth of information that now we have to go through not only for sentencing, but to combat certain things that I believe witnesses and especially officers are going to say on the stand in regards to their investigation. So we're asking for a continuance for that reason because we just need more time to go through all of that. Again, the case law, like I know the court's aware of the case law. The case law, not specifically, the case law points towards it's a sentencing issue, which it is, and we need more time for that. However, without going into more detail, there were certain statements made and certain reports that were written from the lead investigator and other officers, which tells me now that those defect records, the mitigation aspect of this case that we thought was something that we had, that wasn't as important in the trial, well, now it is. Because based off of what we've read and based off of what we received, it will be an issue in this case, especially with the lead investigator. So the first point we're asking for a continuance is because we now have the team put in place to address the issue specifically based on the mitigation aspect of this case, which was not addressed before. Dr. Schaefer had an evaluation that the state has and the court has that he did not have the information that we have, and based off of that information, more needs to be done so that I can adequately protect Ms. Patrick's interests moving forward. Furthermore, we're asking for a continuance, Your Honor, based off of evidence that we believe is still outstanding. And when I say that, again, when Ms. Williams had the case, the state Ms. Williams announced ready for trial. And I understand, based off of the information that the parties had at that time, they believed they were ready. However, once I took over the case again, I thought this was just a chain of custody issue.
That was a very polite way of not throwing her under the bus, by saying she thought she was ready, but she wasn't. I'm coming, baby. Oh my goodness. Here you go. So that was a very polite way of putting that. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that one. My shit ain't right detector is going off. I don't know why, but I heard something somewhere that puts my heckles up. This is weird. This whole thing just screams weird. And I can't put my finger on what's weird. The way the cops are handling it, the way the lawyers are handling it, the way the judge is handling it, or her. I just can't. This is one of the things that makes this case so fascinating to me is who's shady. Because somebody's shady. Just who is it?
And it turned into something a lot bigger. And to give the court an idea without going into too much detail about our theory, since I've taken over the case, I've actually been able to delve or dive deep into it. There are issues with what officers did in this case. There are issues with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations in this case, and we have started to get more information, more evidence from the Georgia Bureau of Investigations and from law enforcement. With that said, the state and I met on Friday in person to go over the physical evidence in the case, and we talked about that as well. And the state is helping us get more information. And to be clear, this is not an issue that, like, the DA was hiding information. This is more of, I saw an issue that I believe Ms. Williams just didn't see, and it snowballed into something a lot bigger than just a chain of custody issue. So now we're still trying to get information from Georgia Bureau of Investigations to fully understand the forensics in this case, to fully understand the chain of custody issue in this case, to fully understand the procedures in this case. And we are literally still requesting information from GBI that's still coming in. And now we've actually asked the DA to help us out on that because this is information they need as well. So this isn't something that's like, well, we knew about this earlier. This literally, again, started out as a chain of custody issue, and it has snowballed into something bigger to where we're going, and this deals with possible 702 gallery issues moving forward. We're literally dealing with forensic evidence. We're literally dealing with chain of custody issues, proper procedure issues, not only through local law enforcement, but through the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So we're asking for a continuance on that as well because there's still information coming in. And finally, Your Honor, and again, this is not me saying the state withheld anything, because I honestly believe the state didn't know about this as well. But on Friday, when I met with the state to go over the physical evidence,
I don't know. I think he's trying to say the cops or the sheriff's office. But to be honest, it looks like he's trying to stay on the right side of people. Because this is rural Georgia. This is not a small or a big town. It's like he's trying to stay on the correct side of the good old boys club, but still saying something ain't right. It's it's just weird. And yes, thank you, Jeff and family, for the $50 Ko-fi. I appreciate you very, very, very much. And Jeff, if you are listening, keep working with therapy. I really hope you're getting stronger, and I can't wait to see you back in the chat. Although it is fun getting to know the rest of your family. I miss you, buddy.
I want a buddy.
She misses you too.
They sent a supplemental report from an officer with local law enforcement. The issue is this officer is in other reports. This officer is on the witness list. But from the information we received, the information Ms. Williams had, this officer literally didn't really do anything in the reports. He was just there. Now we find out that this officer did not write a report. However, he went to the DA's office literally last week and said, you know what? Well, and I'm sure they can correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding, this officer had a hunch that
somebody. So yesterday, Mo started going over for those of you who are Mo Raiders, Mo started going over the Tyler Robinson hearing. And she asked, I think she made a comment about the judge and how many hair products he uses. Tell her about this judge. And she's watched this stuff before. She's familiar with this case-ish. However, I think Judge Hightower takes the record for the judge, on-camera judge with the most hair products used. So I believe that's he is the winner. That could be a Timu Law School class of judge, hairdo. I forgot how to mod. I doubt that. Judge with the good hair.
the gun that was possibly used for the shooting was pawned by a certain person we never knew the name of from the discovery sent over by the DA. And that officer's hunch it went to another person that had the gun, and the officer tested the gun and then gave it back to the other person. We had no idea these two people existed. We had no idea this test existed. We had no idea there was a possible another gun. We had no idea there was a possible hunch. We have no idea how the officer came to that conclusion. And again, Ms. Williams and the state announced ready for trial for January. The state didn't know about this. We are now in a position to where I honestly don't know, was this one road officer that just did literally whatever he wanted to and never reported to anyone else? Or is there more involved in this? I need to now follow up on the hunches. I need to now follow up on how he even got to this conclusion. I need to now follow up on the two people, well, it is more than two people at this point that I didn't know about until Friday, literally Friday afternoon.
And this is weird. He's been her attorney since February. So, the fact that he just found out about all this stuff on Friday, and Flash fan, I did look it up. This trial is set for August 3rd. Yeah, evidence is withheld. That sounds like a problem. More like a Brady violation. But Brady violation would be the lawyers, not the cops. So if the DA didn't know about it either, something has been shady with this from the very, very beginning. And maybe now all that's starting to come out. I don't know. This is just bizarre. Bizarre.
That I need to now follow up on them. I need to go to the pawn shop to see what happened there. I mean, there's so much more information that we have uncovered since I've taken over the case and I brought my team on that we can't fully be prepared to go forward with defending Ms. Patrick. As of right now, and again, this is not the DA's office that held any of this information. This was
So the Brady violation I'm not a lawyer, but in my memory would be if it was the DA's office who knew about it and withheld it. Since this was a cop who didn't even tell the DA's office about it, the DA's office had no idea That would not be in my recollection of what a Brady violation is. So this is not a pawn shop. Okay. Short answer of what a pawn shop is for those of you who don't live in the US. So you can either go and sell items and get basically quick cash, or you can pawn items. You can go and get a loan. You basically give your item as collateral, and they give you cash. When you bring the cash back, you get your item back. There's plenty of pawn shops around here with some plenty nice stuff. When we lived in our old house in our last town, we bought a 2-year-old riding lawnmower from the pawn shop. Almost brand new, almost 0 miles on it. Great condition. 50-inch riding or a zero turn from a pawn shop. So pawn shops have a bad reputation of being shady places, but sometimes they have a lot of nice stuff. So sometimes they have some really nice stuff, especially around here.
Now I see there's a problem. I thought it was a small problem. It has snowballed into a huge problem. And as of Friday, now we know that there are officers that really didn't do anything or didn't provide anything in evidence that was presented to or turned over to Ms. Williams and then turned over to me, that now they're coming out the woodworks that there are possible other guns, possible other suspects, possible other contacts, possible other connections that no one knew about up until now.
And the other suspects thing is huge because, as I said at the beginning, they literally focused on her and her only from the very beginning, which circumstantial evidence, she looks it's pretty incriminating. However, I really am not a fan of that tunnel vision that cops can sometimes get, where they think that they have the right person, so they hyper focus on that person and don't focus on anybody else. Not every cop is like that, but it happens that you get so focused on what you think is the right answer that you don't focus on any other possibility. And they might have screwed up. I'm not entirely sure what he meant with all of that, whether it was a different gun, it was the gun. Yeah, a Brady violation is not always an intentional act of malice. It can occur due to police or prosecutor oversight or confirmation bias. Confirmation bias was the word I was trying to figure out for when cops hyper focus on one suspect that they think is it. But
and again, the case law, the court's already the case law, so I'm not going to delve into that. But we are in the position now that I understand this trial was set, or this case was set to go to trial. I understand that this Patrick has been in jail this entire time. She and I have had this difficult conversation, but I am in the position, due to her age, due to the circumstances surrounding the case, and due to the mitigation aspect, the new information aspect, the possible other weapons, other people. I mean, there's so much that has been uncovered within the last few months that we have delved into this case that we're asking for more time so we can be prepared. And not only for sentencing, but for the case in chief itself. The mitigation aspect of what we are looking into not only goes to sentencing, again, it goes to actual issues with investigations that these officers conducted, especially the lead investigator in this case. So the mitigation issue deals with her age, sentencing, and the case in chief, but now we know GBI evidence that there's still more coming in, still more information coming in, forensic evidence, there's still more coming in. We will be having 72-hour hearings, we have to, on specific information, what will be admitted, what won't be admitted, who will be an expert. There's a chain of custody issue, and again, now there's new evidence that there's some rogue cop that now literally didn't write a report at the beginning, but apparently a couple years later, a couple weeks before trial, he remembered, now I need to write a report, and there's a new gun we need to talk about, there's new, again, forensic evidence we need to talk about, there's new contact information we need to talk about, and this is not from the state, this is information that we uncovered because I saw there was a problem, and the problem turned out to be a lot larger than what it was. With all of that said, Your Honor, due to the nature of the crime, due to the fact that Ms. Patrick is potentially looking at, 2 life sentences without possibility of parole, as a defense attorney, I need more time to uncover or to just delve deeper into all of this new information that we've uncovered before I can properly say that I can represent her zealously and cover all my bases. This is an issue that I don't want to come back 20, 30 years from now and have to relitigate all of this because another officer popped up with new information that we didn't know about before. Like, this is not I'm grasping at straws. There's an actual issue here that the state and I need to uncover before we can properly move forward with this case. So for those reasons, Your Honor, unless the court has any questions, we are asking for a continuance so that my team that we put together that is suitable to handle all this information can actually do just that. We just need more time because there hasn't been enough time yet. Thank you.
State, do you have a response?
And I agree with Malin that I think the judge is going to grant this just for appeal purposes, because in the event that he doesn't grant this and it turns out that there was a whole lot of stuff that and he knew about it and he was told about it and didn't do anything about it, that's a problem. That's a big problem. The term rogue cop is not gentle at all. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to say the least. Oof. Look at me talking as an American. Who knows about the law? Hell no. Well, and just some things are universal. Like, you just know shitty behavior and things that aren't right when you see it. It doesn't have to be an American thing or a British thing or a Swedish thing. Sometimes you just know shit's not right when you see it. And if we can all agree that something just doesn't appear right, doesn't matter what nationality you are, things look hinky.
Stop.
Judge Graff would be nice and grant this. I think he would. I think he'll grant this too. Just because this was supposed to go to trial in January. January 6th was the original trial date, or the 4th, or whatever that Monday was, that first Monday in January. That's when this original trial date was. And the fact that this is July and they're just now getting stuff coming out seems very, something's not right. I wouldn't doubt the state is fine with at least some delay. I think the state pushes back just because this is Georgia and they push back on everything.
I do, Judge.
State, you'll approach and give your response.
Thank you. I do want to touch on a couple of things. First, in basically the order that defense counsel went through them, he said that there is a new team that they put together specifically for the mitigation or issue, specifically regarding the DFACS documentation. I'm going to break that down a little bit. First, they put their new team together and they want to change their expert, but they're only doing this in June. February, they didn't ask for this. March, they didn't ask for this. April, they didn't ask for this. May, they didn't ask for this. And well into June, they didn't ask for this. Here we are on the eve of trial.
And I get that. But if he says, okay, plain devil's advocate, because I don't know what to believe at this point. And like, I always like to go in with guilt or innocent until proven guilty, but her behavior was just bizarre. So I was leaning towards possibly guilty based on her behavior. However, he said last Friday, if we all look at a freaking calendar, last Friday was 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th, July 10th. They didn't bring it up in March, April, or May, or June because they didn't know about it. I mean, sometimes prosecutors, man, just, I mean, if the defense is telling the truth, devil's advocate, if the defense is being completely 100% honest and open, they did not know about it. They couldn't have asked for this in April, May, and June, or March, April, May, and June, chronological order there, because they had no idea. How are you supposed to ask for something? How are you supposed to ask for something that you don't know exists? So, I see where this prosecutor's trying to go with this, but he sounds like a complete fucking moron.
They're not asking to change their expert. If they wanted to do so, they could have done so then. Prior counsel on the case, Ms. Williams, when she got the case, she hired Dr. Schaefer very quickly after getting the case. And they still didn't get a report for 6 months. Not through defense counsel's lack of effort in getting that. It was just Dr. Schaefer didn't turn it over. I can understand why they want to change their expert. If they want to do so, they've had 6 months to do it. They still have, from my count, 21 days. We are 3 weeks from jury selection. We're still well within the 10-day limit for the state. They can go ahead and do that sort of thing. As far as the DFACS records that we brought up, we got those DFACS records.
Flash fan, I'm just playing devil's advocate. And no offense, but with my experience with people, everybody lies. Even people you think are your friends lie. Even people you think are your friends don't tell you the truth. Everybody lies.
Records a handful of weeks ago. They are
Human
largely
nature.
duplicates of what was already turned over. The significant portion of those documents relating to the defendant and her history were already turned over, already examined by Dr. Schaefer, already examined by the state's expert that we hired back in February for this. That is something that they could have done. They simply chose not to.
So the state's position is that the vast majority of the DFACS records that were turned over, say, about 3 weeks ago, are duplicates that have already been available to everyone.
Yes, either the documents themselves or the information contained therein. They are information that was out there long in advance, things going back to the history of the defendant in relation to her interactions with DFACS.
Thank you.
And to kind of cover this mitigation issue, judges, opposing counsel pointed out, the case law on this largely focuses on a sentencing issue. There is no requirement that the court has to allow additional time or heightened requirements for the defense. Second, if that is genuinely an issue for sentencing, a verdict favorable to the state being reached, potentially sometime in August or September or later, should it be.
What I will say is if you look at her face and her position now, and I know posture you can't really look at because these chairs, these are probably some of the most comfortable courtroom chairs I've ever seen in any courtroom in the country. But so you can't really look at posture, but two things. Defendants, they can do no right. They're either not remorseful enough looking, they look too confident, they look too sad, they look too they can never do anything right. They are always being judged. However, if you look at her basically body language now compared to with this attorney compared to with her last attorney, she looks a lot more confident. And no offense to her last attorney, but I like this guy a lot better.
Required. The court can always set aside sentence.
And Flash fan, I know what you mean. However, I have been so jaded with life, and especially with internet life and social media. I don't. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. When you're in an argument with your significant other and they ask you, "Are you okay?" and you say, "Yeah, I'm fine." Are you really fine? Probably not. That's a lie. So I'm not saying he is lying. I'm saying I assume when I go into a conversation that everybody is lying to me that there is a kernel of what they're saying that is exaggerated, not the truth, not accurate, something's off. That is not a defense attorney thing. That is not an attorney thing. That is me being a cynical bitch and having 40 years of life experience with people lying to me, especially in the last 6 months. I don't trust anybody as far as I can throw them, and I am not that strong. So it has nothing to do with like being a lawyer or anything like that, or a defense attorney. I just don't trust people. It takes a lot for me to trust people these days. Oh, and I'm not upset. I'm just saying, I'm just cynical, and like, I don't trust anybody. Like, I don't even trust this judge. Like, no. I look at everybody with an eye of questioning their motives. Just a I know, but this is why you're the optimist and I am not. Time has taught me and YouTube has taught me that no. I'm done with that shit.
Farther down the line, so that the defense would be able to investigate these sentencing issues. There are other alternatives other than pausing the trial. Second, as far as the outstanding evidence from the GBI, that was basically a request for, I'm going to use a term of art here, bench notes, testing procedures, documentation that the testers make during their process. The defense did not ask for that in February.
And that's them. That's not me.
Is it Mama?
It's not me.
April, we don't have a rogue officer here. I do appreciate the hyperbole of defense counsel, but we do not have a rogue officer running wild. We had an officer who tested a firearm in relation to this case, or any case, to be honest. It was not the firearm used in this case. They tested it, they ran it through NIBIN, they did all of the proper testing procedures for that firearm. It's not related to this case. Multiple firearms were tested in relation to this case. None of them are the firearm in question. This is just one of those that the defense was not aware of prior to Friday. It's the exact same thing as all the other firearms we have. There's going to be potentially 2 new leads to chase down, but those things are law enforcement officers. They're going to be here. They may be brought up by the state for cross-examination. If not, the defense can put them up under their own subpoena power in their case in chief. There's nothing to that would require any additional time. Again, the rule here is the 10-day requirement. We are 21 days out as of right now when I stand here in front of the court. We think that there is no necessary foundation legally for the state to continue this case. We think factually there is no requirement that the court continue this case. We think that overall the needs of justice do not demand a continuance in this case. Instead, they demand that this case be reached for trial on August 3rd as that.
Just out of the abundance of caution, while I know the rule, some may not. You mentioned 10 days.
Sure.
And that we're 21 days out. I know what that means.
Yep.
Can you explain?
I can. So the rules for discovery in Georgia require that all of the information from the state be turned over to defense counsel 10 days prior to trial. For us, we are 21 days out as of today. That counts business days and weekends. So we do have a significant amount of time to give things to them. There may be more things coming, and I can illustrate this with something that was mentioned up in opposing counsel's brief. They were just in receipt of the defendant's calls while she is living in custody. I'm going to turn those over at 10-day. Again, anything from July 1st through whatever that 10.
AKA, I have them now, but I'm going to be an asshole and not turn them over till the last possible legal minute. Just because I'm a douche. I like how the prosecutor is not even trying to hide that he's a dick. Yeah, this right here. Everybody lies. Dr. House.
Dr. House? No, Dr. House.
But I cannot turn over things until I have them. So they're not going to get those until then. As much as I would like to give them the calls that she is making next week, I can't turn over documentation that we don't have. The rule allows us to present evidence as late as 10 days before trial, or more specifically, to make our files available to the defense 10 days before trial. Here we are 21 days out.
I believe you're making reference, Mr. Hoover, you didn't really address this during your presentation, but in the motion that the defense presented, there was a reference to a large amount of evidence that was submitted. There was a certain terabyte amount, I believe, that was addressed in that particular motion. My understanding is that y'all kind of resolved that, and the bulk of that were these calls that you were just turning over. Is that correct?
That's right, Judge. So to kind of unpack that completely, the 2.5 terabytes of information that defense counsel mentions in their brief, that's the entirety of the case. That is all of the jail calls, all of the phone dumps, everything. 33 gigabytes was turned over a couple of weeks ago to the defense. I had spoken to Mr. Hoover prior to let him know these are the things that are coming. They were not surprised by any of those documents. So everything has been turned over. I think it was just a communication error between opposing counsel and their investigator in regards to what was actually turned over. There was only 33 gigabytes turned over. Again, most of that was jail calls with the defendant, and those can't be turned over until they're actually made. So the totality of what we have was turned over, not even to counsel now, but to prior counsel significantly before trial. The overwhelming majority of that 2.5 terabytes was turned over to Ms. Williams well before the trial that we were going to have.
2.5 terabytes is a lot of data. A lot of data. So mountains of evidence. They might have it, but what is it? Is it actually evidence that's worth a damn, or is it junk?
We should have allowed Ms. Williams to make her announcement ready, which she made in January. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anything else to say?
Nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
Brief.
Yeah, I will be brief. So, Your Honor, I do want to start with the back and forth that you and the state had with the 10 days prior to trial.
And again, that really was just to solidify. We have a lot of people in the courtroom. Yes, people hear things. I know their family, people that are interested in this case on both sides. And I really was just trying to get the legal requirement out there so they could understand what he meant by that. Because that, as lawyers, and not just in the judge, we're used to these dates and these time frames. But a lot of people in the audience, they don't know what that means. I just want a little clarification there.
Yes, and to give just a little more clarification, Your Honor, the state is correct that in the state of Georgia, they have 10 days to turn over discovery to the defense. 100% correct. The point that the state kind of glossed over that they didn't mention, that I have to mention, is that the state and Ms. Williams announced ready for trial, and this trial is supposed to go in January. New evidence literally came to existence Friday. Yeah, like literally 3 days ago.
AKA July 10th. So if new evidence came to light July 10th, I see the point of I see where the prosecution's going of, well, we don't have to give them everything till 10 days before trial, which I believe would be July 27th. July 27th. The end of July, early August calendar, I'm so familiar with, based on events in my household around that time. However, if it's a substantial amount and the prosecution just goes, here's all our stuff, well, their investigator has to investigate it. I see where this defense attorney is coming from. And this is coming from the person who doesn't really like Sarah Grace, thinks Sarah Grace's behavior was frankly bizarre AF. And the circumstantial evidence points to she's guilty as hell. But this is just some shady shit. And I agree with this defense attorney. Oh, what a concept there. Holy hell, all is right with the world again. I am agreeing with defense attorneys. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The state can't say, well, we have 10 days to turn everything over and everything's been turned over when they can't themselves say that they have all the evidence. That's the problem. We are literally getting evidence now that we did not have before. Now, what the state said was, well, this is a gun. It went through the same test that all the other guns did, and it wasn't one of them. I don't know that because the officer that didn't write a report for like the last 3 years is now saying that I'm supposed to just take the state's word for it. As a defense attorney, I have to investigate this. At the point where the state makes this bold assertion that, well, this is a gun that we tested like all the other guns and it doesn't exist, we gave it back, I have to do more. I have to see those tests. I have to first, before the test, I have to figure out how he came up with this quote-unquote hunch. I mean, we're in a murder trial, a double homicide, and now rogue officers are bringing in evidence that no one knew before and saying, well, I got it off of a hunch. The state didn't bring that up. The state would say that this is just another gun that didn't test as the fire weapon, or the actual weapon is arrest. I can't go with that. The court can't go with that, and a jury can't go with that. As a defense attorney, I have to first start with, what were you doing to where you didn't write the report at the beginning? Who was your commanding officer? Did you follow procedure? The state won't say, well, we have 10 days to do all. Well, we don't, Your Honor, because now that's a whole new part of my investigation that I have to do once I get those reports. We still don't even have everything from this officer. And again, it's not the DA's office, but we don't have enough from this officer. So when the state says, well, we're still within, 10 days of trial, the state can't stand up here right now and tell you that they know they have all the evidence because it's not possible at this point. They announced ready for trial in January, and we're literally getting new evidence right now. When it comes to GBI and the bench notes, the state wants to say, well, it's just bench notes. It's more than that. Law enforcement did something. They turned over evidence to GBI. I knew there was something wrong with what law enforcement did because I thought it was a chain of custody issue. Come to find out, GBI literally had to restructure everything and go back to law enforcement. So we're not asking for just bench notes. We're asking for what happened at the beginning, what went to GBI, what GBI had to relay back to law enforcement, and what GBI officially did afterwards. So the state's trying to minimize what information that we're still looking for, and that's not the case. We're not talking about an interview. We're talking about more than that. In regards to the DFACS records, Your Honor, we asked for Ms. Patrick's entire DFACS file. The state wants to say, well, they had some of the information, turned it over to Ms. Williams, and Ms. Williams' expert talked about it. Agreed, they had some of it. We're talking about, Ms. Patrick was a juvenile at the time, but we're talking about over a decade's worth of DFACS records that not only the state didn't have, Ms. Williams didn't have, and their expert didn't have. So the state's trying to cherry pick, well, this is just this little bit and this little bit, so it's not that important. Well, it is, because yes, there's a rule for 10 days, and just to back up a little bit, the state said that I've been in this case since February, and I just started answering June. 100% correct. I have literally been in trials around the state when I was told that I'm taking over this case. I couldn't take the case in February, a double homicide, and be prepared to argue motions and say this is what I need at the end of February. The court knows, as an attorney, previous attorney, that's not how murders work. That's not how cases work. I picked up the case in February. I didn't get a new team or new experts to figure out new information. I put my team together once I was told Ms. Patrick's original team was gone, and now this is my case. I have to put a team together. The state will say, well, now I'm asking for new experts, and it's June. That's not how this works. This snowballed into new evidence has been uncovered. More information has told me there's more evidence getting outside of brief. To wrap everything up, Your Honor, there has not been enough time.
Did you catch that?
I hate it.
Oh my God, we have to back that up. We have to back that up because that was the judge is hilarious. I can appreciate that with everything involved in this, people still have some levity.
Snowballed into new evidence has been uncovered. More information has told me there's more evidence getting outside of brief.
The judge says it and then goes straight back to the stone face and like
Stop.
told me there's more evidence
Getting
that's going
outside
to
of brief.
He says it's getting outside of brief. No smile, no nothing. Just it's getting outside of brief and goes right back to that stone cold face. And I'm like, I just can't.
Mommy, is that your hay?
Yeah, Daddy said hi.
No, that was a hay.
Hey. Oh, not hi. Hey. Like
Hey!
To wrap everything up, Your Honor.
the judge wanted to laugh, but didn't. It was like I can, Squid, darling, have something big happening with your channel. I got 9 live long ads tonight. I mean, woohoo coins for Squid. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll talk about some stuff when this is over. I don't like when people try to make me look stupid by saying he didn't ask for this. Yeah, I get that.
There has not been enough time now that there's so much more information. And at the point where the state can't stand up here in front of you and say, Your Honor, we have more than 10 days left. That's the rule. And we can guarantee that all the evidence is turned over. They can't say that because they don't know that for a fact. At this point, we have to have the contingency. The state literally ask or announce ready, not knowing all the evidence in the case. As Ms. Patrick's attorney, I cannot do that. I will not do that. I will be ineffective. And we are asking for more time because there's more evidence out there that we do not have.
I can appreciate that. You know what this reminds me of? This is backwards from what we saw all of last week. This is think about the defense last week trying to keep out anything that didn't make their client look good, and the state wanting all the evidence and, everything in. Doesn't matter what side it was on. They just wanted everything to be seen. The state here makes me, the state, and I'm trying to say this in a way that's, because I live in Georgia, so I kind of got to be a tiptoey-ish around. The state here is like, we have enough evidence that we can get a conviction. We don't want any more evidence because there might be something that makes her look innocent and provides that reasonable doubt that they need, which to me is the exact opposite of what the prosecution and defense were doing last week. The defense, like the ballistics stuff in Charlie Kirk, the defense didn't want that ballistics and the weapon tested, or the bullet tested again, not because there's some nefarious stuff going on, but because if it's tested again, they could get a positive result instead of an inconclusive. So it could be bad for their client. Here, if the state lets in more evidence, they could let in more evidence that provides the jury with that reasonable doubt that they need. That it's the exact opposite of the defense and prosecution of last week. So, hey David, how are you? There's a way he could have asked for more time outside of dragging it out, was making the judge aggravated. Yeah, he said I'll be brief, and then the judge was like, this is kind of getting outside of brief. I can respect that kind of, This new defense attorney is definitely in control of his argument and demonstrating exactly how this argument should be presented. Yeah, I have to look up this attorney. I saw that she had changed attorneys, but I didn't really, because we hadn't seen a hearing, I hadn't really paid much attention to who her attorney was. I'm going to have to look this guy up because he's good. He's well-spoken, brief-ish, non-argumentative, but firm. I like it. Ugh. This is when you see the first look of exasperation on the judge. Are we done yet? Even though this is a short hearing. Look at that look. This is oh shit, here we go.
I do want to make one slight correction. I believe in January the state actually announced not. It was Ms. Williams and the defense counsel that announced it, and I believe it was the state that announced not ready. If they both had announced ready in January, I would try the case in January. I believe the state had announced they were not ready, and I believe the sole issue, the only issue that was left in January was a report from the doctor. There was a preliminary report that was provided to defense counsel, which defense counsel then provided to the state. Defense said that they were ready and able to proceed with trial despite not having full reports, that they thought they were sufficient, adequate, and prepared to do a full, proper defense of Ms. Patrick with just a preliminary report. The state announced that the judge, we see some issues in the preliminary report, and we believe that we cannot be prepared without the full report, and we need to be offered the proper opportunity to have our own expert review the full report. That, as a state, we're entitled to that privilege. It was at that point that I decided to continue the case, and even acknowledge that I believe Ms. Williams, she even needed the full report. And I believe I even placed that on the record at that time, that even though she was willing to go forward with the preliminary report, I believe that she did need that full report to do an adequate job. And I believe that was the sole and only reason for the continuance in January. I've listened to both sides. I should have a ruling within. I need to have a ruling out of the way very quickly so that everyone knows what to anticipate. I do have court the rest of the day today. I have a court tomorrow in a separate county. My intention is to have an order to y'all. I'm going to say no later than midday Wednesday, but I really want to have that order out by tomorrow afternoon. So give me till midday Wednesday just in case something happens. But I'm really shooting for tomorrow afternoon to have that order prepared. As I indicated to y'all when y'all came up to the bench conference, the only thing that can delay that, however I rule, I really do want to make sure that I have the procedural history correct. I've already asked my court reporter to pull the transcript of January, so I make sure that I get that language correct. If needed, I need to use that in my order. So that's the only thing that may take me a little bit more time. It's just making sure I have that procedural history accurate to support whichever ruling I make. I appreciate both of y'all being here today. Appreciate the arguments that have been made. I'll have the order today, Wednesday, if not by tomorrow.
And Your Honor, just with that said, I apologize. I wasn't here in January, so I didn't know.
It's okay.
I need to say the state asked for a continuance, was granted a continuance in January because there was one sole issue, like the court said, that they need to be prepared for. I am now saying there's not one sole issue that I need to prepare for. There are multiple issues that I need to prepare for, and we're asking for the continuance for that reason. And furthermore, it's still information the state doesn't have anything. So the fact that they're still trying to announce ready for trial, but they don't have the information that I'm literally saying we still need, says a lot. So the state asked for a continuance for one sole issue. It was granted.
And that tells me right there that they want to proceed to trial. The state wants to proceed to trial with all the evidence that they have and only the evidence they have, because of the fact that the evidence they believe they have will get a conviction versus letting in more evidence. And if you let in more evidence, there may be evidence that points to somebody else and introduces that reasonable doubt that may not get you your conviction. And the thing I dislike about prosecutors the most is that not all the time, it used to be the whole point of prosecutors is to get justice for victims and victims' families. Now it seems like I just want to be reelected, so I'm going to go by conviction rate, not am I actually convicting the right person? And with that, I highly dislike prosecutors most of the time. And the fact that I find myself agreeing with them more often than not. No. Hold on. Stop. Mana's working. But Flash fan, you are far from stupid. It's far from stupid. And if people ever try to make you look stupid, it says more about them than it does about you. Yeah. You know? So, But I agree with this attorney yet again of it's on the couch, baby. Of the state wanted a continuance in January for one reason and one reason only. Now I have like 10 reasons that I want a continuance and 10 things to work out. And that's why I want a continuance. If they got one for one thing, where's mine for, all these separate issues? So, yeah.
This is asking for a continuance for a multiple issue, and it's not something small, it's something major. The state still doesn't have that information. And we're asking for it.
Snipe, I know you're old, but I don't think you were 200 years old.
Already made your point.
That's going to make sure.
And I do want both sides to be aware. I'm giving you a little leeway today. But just random arguments that are made after I've given you time to make your arguments, we'll follow a slightly different decorum report.
Yes, sir. Understand.
This is not a time for argument back and forth in a debate type fashion. It's an order. Right?
I get that.
We take a specific order. You presented, the state presented, I gave you an opportunity to make rebuttal. And then I've announced when the ruling will be made. I think that should suffice, okay? But I appreciate your zealous argument. But I will not let this case get out of hand. I just want to set the tone early. While I appreciate the zealous advocate that you are, and I need you to be that zealous advocate of your client, right? That's how you're supposed to represent your client. The state needs you to do just the same for the state. All parties will stay within the realm of proper court decorum. Okay? I'll have y'all ruling. The ruling should be done by Wednesday at noon, if not by tomorrow. All right, thank you.
All right. And as of 1 minute ago when I checked, so 3:57 p.m. on Tuesday, it is not in yet. It's so when it is in, I will probably post it and make a short. I probably won't do a whole video on it because it's like, hey, this is what it is. No need for an entire video on that. I tell my girlfriend she is older than dirt and it's her old age rubbing off on me that's making me old. It's hilarious. So, and this is one of the many reasons that we love Flash Fan, because I ask a question and there presents an answer. How he finds these things so quickly, I don't know. And that's one of the reasons that I think that he should start a channel, is to teach us his ways of how he finds information so damn fast. Because call me a boomer, I don't care. Sometimes I'll be looking for stuff and I'm like, I can't find it. I'll tell Flash Fan and he'll have it like 30 seconds later. And I'm like, what in the Wizards of Waverly Place was that shit? If you know, you have to be of a certain age to get that reference. Thank you very much. I am old. So, but capital cases and RICO cases. So, with that, changes to the channel. So, as you might have noticed in the thumbnail, the logo got a little bit of an upgrade, and I have to go to the website and download it because, once again, Zay's on my computer and I downloaded them to my other computer and not to this one. Come on. Do you ever things aren't there? We go. So this is the new logo for the the channel. There you go. Hope you guys like it. I like it. It's more my color scheme, the bold colors, kind of the same thing, a little bit of a play off evidence through motion. That's my fully vectored logo that will be I'm working on the merch. I am working on the merch store, but I'm also working on a logo to go with the merch store so that both ETM merch and Squid Pro Quo merch are cohesive under one umbrella. So, there's that. So I hope that y'all like this. There will be a little less drama, a little more back to trial coverage. Things that.
Mommy, it's his hand.
Yep. What do you think? Do you like it?
Yeah.
You love it?
Yeah.
The little likes it. So I hope you guys do as well.
Okay.
Coming up tomorrow, we will be going into some more documents in a couple of different cases. I have to kind of do a little bit of a investigate tonight. And then Friday, Spawn will be joining me, hopefully for a What the Hales update, because it's been about 2 weeks since I've talked about it, heard about it, heard a lot's going on. Somebody needs to give me an update. Because there's just been a lot of BS that I have absolutely no idea how we got here. So there's that. Thursday, we will be doing a Beyond...
Mommy.
Yes, Angel.
6-7.
6-7. Whoever put 6-7 in the chat, Heidel,
6-7.
so she just texted her dad 6-7. I have 6-7. You know, it is what it is.
6-7.
You're...
6-7.
How do you know this? How do you know this? How? What's with this? Yeah, it's no. I blame Dickie Novak. Hey Danielle, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. How? I know, but how does she know not only 6-7 but this? How do you know this? What is this? What is this?
6-7.
How does she know that?
6-7. 6-7.
Is Burnt Peanut doing it? Who's Peanut?
Peanut is TV.
Peanut on TV?
Yeah. It's just,
Oh my goodness.
Mommy, it's the morning.
It's good morning. Yeah. Watching YouTube. Malin, you have a great night.
6-7.
6-7. 7, 8, 9.
7 is
I don't know.
7. 6-7.
We're still working on our V's.
6-7.
All right, but here is the whoa. Hold on, hold your horses there, woman.
Hello?
I'm trying to
Hello?
ma'am. Can you not do that for a second?
Yeah. No.
So this is this is my logo that is probably going to be on the merch store. Should we show them this?
No.
So, hey French.
Hi, friends.
So, it's
That is 6-7.
my little cousin said 6-7. I lock her in the closet. Can you say pecuniary advantage?
6-7.
No.
6-7.
So this will probably be what
Mama.
I put in all 3 of my logos into ChatGPT and said, make me something that combines all 3. So that will be
Mommy, I Shannon.
You want 7?
Shannon.
So that will probably be our what's on the merch store is like the heading. I haven't figured out if
Shannon. Stop.
you stop. I haven't figured out if this will be
Stop.
on the entire or this will be merch in itself. However, this is kind of like putting all 3 brands,
Daddy.
Squid, ETM, and Built for Life, all in one,
Shannon.
you know.
Shannon.
uh,
Shannon.
Compass.
Shannon.
Can we stop with the 6, 7, please?
No.
So this will probably be what'll be on the merch store so that I can have merch for all 3 brands or all 3 different
Money.
all 3 different 2 channels and the possible in-person business
Stop. Stop.
all under one heading.
No.
But I haven't quite figured out how I want to go about this yet. So I will be working with my designer to see what he thinks. Yeah. But he's overseas, so it'll be a couple days. But that's kind of what I got going on. Redoing the merch store. Kind of just redoing things. I'm going to be redoing a lot of the thumbnails in the playlists, things like that, to kind of match the new branding and see if we can I'm 40 and I thought I was too old for Wizards of Waverly Blaze. You still knew what it was. Like, you still knew what it was.
Mommy.
You need to teach her to grift on your behalf. I'm so bad at that. That's why I have Gail and Heidel and
No.
it's a thing. However, I'm gonna see where I can send you guys. Can you say hit like and subscribe?
It's right.
Subscribe
It's right.
and share this out, and make sure that you subscribe to ETM as well, because that is my passion project. That is the
It's right. Hello.
and I can't find
Mommy,
anybody
it's a
that is
hello. It's hello.
actually
Mommy,
live right
it's
now.
a hello.
Yeah.
It's hello.
Duncan Idaho said hello.
Oh no!
You dropped my phone. It's- well, that's what happens when you drop stuff. Oh my god, you're okay. She dropped my phone, hit her knee on the way down, and hit her head on the bottom of on my desk on the way up. So I am going to take care of my little. There is nobody live right now. However, I do have you redirected to go over to AJ. She doesn't start till 6, but drop a like. We were at 449. We lost a sub. You know, it is what it is. And we're at 43.55 over here. 43.55. And I've been doing less work, so I've lost about 6 subscribers over here. So, you know, it is what it is.
No,
When you're redoing stuff,
Mommy,
and when you're kind of yes, Jeffrey, how dare you? When you're kind of redoing stuff and figuring out who you are and where you want to go, that's not for everybody, and people will leave you behind. And, you know, yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, but we're going to be redoing some stuff, continuing on this fun aspect of wherever this journey is going, to try to get to 5,000 subscribers maybe, and try to get ETM monetized. We gonna try to get ETM monetized?
No.
Yes, we are going to try to get ETM monetized despite what this one says. There will be some changes coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks as far as scheduling goes, because August 3rd, somebody starts school. So I'm not really sure what the new schedule is going to look like because dropping her off, picking her up, what her hours are going to be, what my hours are. At this point, anything goes. So it is what it is. I will see you guys Wednesday or tomorrow. Not sure what we're going to be talking about yet. I got a lot of things that I want to talk about. We might just do a chill out stream because we haven't done that in a while. However, try not to be a twat waffle. Be good to each other. But don't be a doormat. Don't let people walk all over you just because you want to be people's friends. Don't try to be people's friends who don't want to be friends with you. And I will see you guys on the next one. You want to say bye?
Bye.